Hello and welcome to the Conscious Leadership Podcast, which now includes a specific thread for the Women into Business Academy. My name is Julie Hogbin, your host on both podcasts, and if you have any questions on anything you hear, please ask. And if you would like a specific topic covered, let me know. And if you like what you hear, please share. Hello, Conscious Leadership listeners. I wouldn't normally do this, but I'm going to do a second episode on a similar subject very close to the first one, which is Clubhouse, a new app currently, and this is January 2021, currently only on iOS, so Apple products, phones. I'm not sure about Macs, but iPads, definitely. You can access it. It's a new social media platform. It has been around for about a year at this point. Started in May 2020 is my belief, and I have now been on it for 3 or 4 weeks, maybe, something like that. And I just wanted to give you an update on how I'm finding it. And I have to say, I am finding it an absolutely fabulous platform. It is so, I believe, what the world needs currently. As in, it is instant, it is vocal, you can't see each other, so all you can do is hear each other's tones, hear each other's voices. And when you really think about what that means, it means that people can't actually hide because they are their voice. You know, and we can all get on stage and we can speak for half an hour or a day or 2 days or 3 days, and we can take on a persona. And we can adopt a positioning. And when you think about Clubhouse, if you're doing a daily room or you've managed to get a club, which I have applied for, called Business Leadership, if you're on every day, you really can't, unless you're so skilled at this, hide your voice and hide your tone. It just doesn't continue through. And what's happening currently is that it is an absolutely level playing field. And yes, of course, there are people on Clubhouse who are positioning and they're getting all their followers and they're gaining, like tens of thousands of followers. And currently there's about 1 million people on it, but nobody knows who anybody else is. And because it is the United States, so the US, came into the UK, I'm going to say December, I'm not sure really, but maybe December. We're all currently early adopters. All of us that are on Clubhouse, and I encourage you to be on there if you're currently not. And of course, if you're an early adopter, you will be on there. If you're further down the chain of how these things happen with change, you're not on there. I'm seeing people saying best thing since sliced bread, and I'm seeing people saying, nah, not bothering, not wasting my time. All I can say is that myself and 3 others, one I vaguely knew from the property world, the 2 others I had never met before, never heard of, never had anything to do with because I didn't know them, are now running a daily property meet. So we'll just go with property because that's what we're doing. A daily property meet. We're all in property in one guise or another, from serviced accommodation to HMOs to planning to sourcing. The 4 of us within the last 2 weeks are running a daily meet that has 100 people within it on a daily basis. Now, my belief, there is absolutely nowhere else on any platform, in any which way you can think about that on a daily basis you'd have 100 people listening into you, into your message, into the people that are on stage, for want of a better word, which is the top part of the programme. There's no way I think on the planet you'll be able to do that. And it's live and it's interactive. So the people that are on the stage, what they call the moderators, they have a little green symbol on them. They are the ones that, if you like, control the meet. They can be the originators of the meet, of the room as it's called, so there's 4 of us in this particular meet that we do every morning at 7 a.m. And then we can invite additional people up and give them the badge of moderation, which means they can then take a more managerial role within, and contribution role is perhaps the better word, a contribution role within the whole room, which is the meet. And then each one of those, if they chose to, can then invite people to speak. They come up on the stage, they ask their question, they get their question answered. Q&A, discussion, conversation in the moment. It's live. So you could have an issue at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You go onto Clubhouse, you find a room that is discussing the thing that you've got the issue with, and they'll answer your question if you can get yourself on stage. And I say if you can get yourself on stage. So currently today, and you may hear it in my voice, which may sound slightly hoarse and slightly tired, I was on stage with the property meet from 7 till 9. I had then arranged, and this is my planning, but I had then arranged another room at noon till 2 for business leadership. And it was active, and you don't talk for 2 hours, but you're listening, you're interacting, you're answering questions. I had a panel of moderators with me. I made them moderators because that gives you additional kudos and enhances your reputation. So people came up, they spoke, I made them a moderator. Not everybody is doing that. I'll tell you why in a moment. So that was from noon until 2. I went from that straight into a room from 2 until 3:30. And the title of that room, because you create the titles, was When is Enough Enough and What is Enough? I co-hosted that one with someone I know. I haven't actually spoken to them for the last 4, maybe 5 years, and how we do it, but we both have the same intent, we both have the same values. We co-hosted a room together. And again, it was an active room. There were people in listening. The more you're on Clubhouse and the more you interact with the rooms and the people in them, you gain more followers. When you gain a follower, and if that follower ticks the little bell that says, goes from the default of sometimes to always, they get a notification when you're online if they've got their notifications turned on. So far, I am finding the platform slightly addictive, so I'm now managing that because I was in it and all over the place and listening to everything and viewing everybody and getting involved in everything and listening and interacting. I've decided that's not my best plan, but it's new and it's fun and it's exciting. What I'm doing now is programming my own rooms. When you program your own rooms, leads to, if you apply, and you have to apply, and there's a big backlog and there's a waiting list, because there are, I think currently only two founders, and I think they've got a team of 7, so 9 in total that are doing everything, all the updates, all the links, because we're still in beta with Clubhouse. They are updating everything as they go, and as you know, they're getting feedback from the people that are doing the beta test. There's still only about, I think I said it earlier, about 1 million people on the platform, so we've been told. And the creators of Clubhouse do what they call a town hall once a week, and they identify all the updates, they answer any questions, so they're still really interactive with the program, they're still really interactive with all the beta testers that are on it. And currently this is only on iOS, so it's not on Android yet. I want to say one more thing about the rooms. So this afternoon, yesterday, I entered into a room. So some rooms have got thousands of people in and it's a bit chaotic, I have to admit. And then other rooms are more, as somebody said to me today, like a fireside chat. There are less people in. You've got more opportunity of getting your questions answered. You've got more opportunity of interacting with the people that are, if you like, on stage, because that's what it's called. And you get the opportunity to be on stage to ask your question. It's a fabulous concept, I have to admit. And talk about the timing's right, it's stunning. And I will say, if I can invest in this, I will. I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet. I've tried to find out where they're getting the funding from. I've tried to find out where whether they're on a crowdfunding platform. And I'll get into the Clubhouse and I will ask, because if I can, I will invest. And I'm not talking about bucket loads of money, but I do think this is the next best thing. I'm convinced, and I'm willing to put some money into it if I can, to recoup. Who doesn't want multiple streams of income in one guise or another? So I'm willing to take the risk that this will grow into what I think it's going to. But back to the rooms. I walked into a room yesterday afternoon. There were, and this is a cautionary tale, so for those of you that are listening to this prior to you getting onto Clubhouse, please bear this in mind. When you set a room up, you are automatically the moderator. This isn't a club, it's a room. You are automatically the moderator. You, as the room setter-upperer, can make other people moderators when you invite them to stage. And if you set the room up with other people, so it would have your name plus maybe 2 or 3 other people, they automatically are notified when you're online. And you, as the person that starts the room, so kicks it off, because it's time sensitive, they become the moderator of the room. They then have to give you permission to be the moderator. So it's really easy to do. You just click a little button and they become the moderator. Now, what happened in this room yesterday, and this room had been, I think, running since Sunday morning. So we're now, when am I doing this? Wednesday evening. So this would have been last Tuesday evening. The room had been running since Sunday. And what happened when I went into it to find out what it was about and what was going on, it was chaos, absolute chaos. And what had happened, there were over 100 moderators on the stage. And of course, all of those moderators can control what happens. And what was happening, one, more, don't know how many of those moderators were actually muting the people that were speaking and kicking them, and that's the term that's being used, kicking them out of the room. Now, they can come back in, but it completely disrupted the whole process. There was a lot of furore going on because the people that, if you like, owned the room, that's the wrong word, but owned the room, had set the room up, didn't know who was doing it. And it was one of these many moderators. Now, the people that had set the room up were clearly being, for want of a better word, kind to allow people to moderate. But remember, it has been running since Sunday morning, and this would have been Tuesday evening. What ultimately happened, everybody started talking over each other. Everybody was sort of having a go at everybody and telling the people that were doing the misbehaving to stop. And the guy who had set the room up actually got kicked out of his own room. And apparently it's happening and has happened a couple of times. So there's a side to Clubhouse, dependent on the room, dependent on who's moderating, that isn't I'm going to say quite as ethical as it could be. When you come onto the app, if you choose to, of course it is your choice. There's the big rooms. They've got thousands of people in. They've got really big names in them. I mean, billionaires, multi-millionaires. They're all giving their advice away free. So currently it's free mentoring. None of us really know what their plan is for it, whether it's paid, unpaid, whatever's going to happen. You can apply for a club to get a club, which is the level above a room. And then you can run many rooms under the club. So the club is like your business, if that makes sense. This is how it's happening in my head. You can then run many rooms under your club, and other people can join your club and run their rooms under it. So think about, if you get onto this app and this is what you want to do, think about who you are allowing in your room and who you are allowing to run rooms within your club, because you don't know what they're going to be talking about. There's a few stories beginning to appear about the subject matters that people are running in clubs, because that's just what they're doing. Anyway, so far it's been absolutely fabulous. I am absolutely loving it. I've been on there for 2 hours this morning. I've been on there for 3.5 hours this afternoon. So 2, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5 hours today. But it's 5.5 hours running rooms. It's 5.5 hours being on stage. It's 5.5 hours of building a following. It's 5.5 hours of building a reputation. It's 5.5 hours of giving massive content to enable people to create their future, to support them through doing that. So Clubhouse, I would highly recommend it. Seriously, highly recommend it. It is still in beta. We are still in January 2021. It only launched in May 2020. For those of you who are aware of what that potentially means, for those of you that maybe missed out the launch of LinkedIn, missed out the launch of Facebook, missed out the launch of TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter, whatever that might be, there is a real opportunity here to stake your claim and to create followers who want to follow you because you're giving really good content. And yes, the big names have got big followings, and I don't know what big following is. They may have 3 million on another platform. On here at the minute, they've got maybe 20,000. So it's also really very new. If you want to ask any questions about Clubhouse, please contact me. If you come onto Clubhouse, please follow me because it gives you instant access to DMs, not via Clubhouse, but via the link to Instagram. You've got instant DM facilities via my profile on Clubhouse. So it's at Julie Hogbin. It's exactly the same as my name. I had a bit of a blip with that at one point as well, because there's a whole nother thing on Clubhouse that you can do. Clubhouse have now fixed that because quite a few of us did it accidentally. So it's at Julie Hogbin. Come and follow me. Click the bell to always when I'm online. You will hear all sorts of things from me. So I'm talking about property, but in the property group, I'm the human behaviourist. So I will deal with all of the property things because that's what I do as well. But I'll also talk about human behaviour. I'll talk about building teams. In the business leadership talks I'm talking about teams, leadership, management, strategy of business, wealth creation, all sorts of things. And then anything in reality vaguely concerned to how we operate as human to get the best out of ourselves. So I'm talking on mental health. I'm talking about stress, which was the book I've written as part of lockdown, which is stress management, stress awareness I've been doing for probably nearly 4 decades now. So this is a platform where if you've got a message to share, you can get it out there so easily currently. So I truly hope you found this helpful. I'm absolutely exhausted. I haven't done this much talking for a very, very, very long time, especially on one day. And then, of course, in between, phone calls from tenants, phone calls from clients, emails to answer and everything else. But it's fundamentally a really good platform. You've got to learn how to use it. You've got to learn how to put your best energy into it to get the best results for you. You've got to recognise the rooms that it will serve you to be in. And then if you link into the universe and the synchronicities, and if something pops up on your phone, it generally pops up for a reason. Not always. Sometimes you've got to assess that for your own self. But it's a fabulous platform. It's early days yet. And I have really good hopes for it. So 2nd episode on Clubhouse. If you've got any questions, I'm not proposing to be the expert, but I've been using it quite a lot. I am the human behaviourist. I do know how people interact. I can very probably help you get the best out of it. And that is my intent for everything you do, to get the best out of life, to get the best out of what you're doing, whatever it is, whatever business you're in. So please connect with me, ask me any questions you have. And I'm just going to say bye for now because I'm off to have a glass of wine. And it is 7 o'clock in the evening from 7 a.m. this morning. And I'm not going to be too long out of bed either. Thank you for listening to the Conscious Leadership and the Women into Business Academy episodes. If you have any questions, please ask. You can find me on all of the normal social media channels, along with Facebook pages and groups, LinkedIn pages and a YouTube channel. If you like what you have heard, please share to spread the message. And if you have anybody or a subject matter that you would like me to either interview or talk about, please let me know.